Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Unit 9, page 119, The White Lamp. The old gardener, Nawasard, went down to the spring that welled up under the nut tree to wash and to rest. No sooner had he bent down to let the cool water splash on his sunburned face than he heard the team leader calling him, "Hey Nawasard, hurry, your son Arshak is back." बूढ़ा बागबान नवासर्द नीचे उस चश्मे पर गया जो कि अखरोट के दरख्त के नीचे बह रहा था ताकि मुंह हाथ धोए और आराम करे। अभी उसने अपने सूरज के जले चेहरे पर पानी नहीं डाला था कि इसने अपनी टीम लीडर की आवाज़ सुनी, "हाय नवासर्द, जल्दी करो, तुम्हारा बेटा अर्शक वापस आ गया है." "What?" the old man said excitedly and then straightened up with difficulty. He rushed back up to where the man was standing with an agility surprising for his ears. "What did you say? When did he come? Where is he?" "क्या?" बूढ़े ने खुशी से कहा और बमुश्किल ही एक कमर सीधी कर दी। वो तेज़ी से उस जगह की तरफ लपका जहाँ वो आदमी खड़ा था और पूछा, "तुमने क्या कहा? वो कब आया? वो कहाँ है?" "He's in the village. I saw him myself. He's driving a blue sedan, riding through the village. Lucky you, Nawasard. God has blessed you with a fine son." "वो गांव में है, मैंने खुद उसे देखा, वो गांव में एक नीला कार चला रहा था." "तुम खुशकिस्मत हो नवासारद, अल्लाह ने तुम्हें एक अच्छा बेटा दिया है." The sun began to shine 10 times as brightly as before. Page 120. Nawasard felt he was walking on air. His heart pounded with excitement. सूरज पहले से 10 गुना ज़्यादा चमकने लगा। नवासारद ने खुद को हवा में उड़ते हुए महसूस किया। उसका दिल खुशी से धड़कने लगा। Nawasard seemed to be pondering over something as he looked in the direction of the village, but then turned sharply and ran towards the spot in the orchard instead. He had not seen Arshak for 10 years. Each year he would look at the road hopefully and wait. He had waited patiently, and now at long last he would see him. Arshak had come at a good time. Fruit in orchards had ripened, and he was still hale and hearty. नवासर ने जो ही गांव की जानिब देखा तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि गोया वो किसी चीज़ के बारे में सोच रहा था, लेकिन फिर जल्दी से मुड़ा और मेवे के बाग में एक मुकाम की तरफ दौड़ा। उसने 10 साल से अर्शक को नहीं देखा था। हर साल वो उम्मीद के साथ सड़क की तरफ देखता और इंतज़ार करता था। उसने सब्र के साथ इंतज़ार किया था और अब आखिरकार वो उसको देखेगा। अर्शक अच्छे मौसम में वापस आया था। बागात में फल पक चुके थे और अब भी सही सलामत और सेहतमंद था। Nawasard had no living relatives left in the village. His had not been a happy life. He had never had any children of his own, and his wife had died many years before. His brother and sister-in-law had died of hunger during the war, leaving only one son, Arshak. गांव में नवासारद के कोई रिश्तेदार बाकी नहीं रहे थे। उसकी ज़िंदगी खुशहाल नहीं थी। उसके अपने बच्चे भी नहीं थे और उसकी बीवी कई साल केवल वफ़ात पा चुकी थी। उसका भाई और भाभी जंग के दौरान भूख से मर चुके थे और एक इकलौता बेटा अर्शक पीछे छोड़ गए थे। Then he recalled that the largest of the watermelons had ripened under the huge mulberry tree by the river bank. Page 121. He cut its stem, wiped the silvery dust from the melon with the hem of his long jacket and admired its shiny strips. फिर उसे याद आया कि दरिया के किनारे तूत के दरख्त के नीचे बड़े बड़े तरबूज पक चुके थे। उसने उसके तन्ने को काटा, तरबूज के ऊपर लगे चमकदार गिर्द को अपने लंबे जैकेट्स के जालर से साफ किया और उसकी लकीरों की तारीफ की। "My Arshak loves watermelons," he mumbled. He got down on his knees, put his arms around the melon and squeezed hard, with his ear to the rind. He nodded approvingly at the sound. He then went over the fig tree, climbed it with difficulty, and began picking the honey-sweet fruit that had been pecked at here and there by the birds. He chose the figs and packed them gently into the bright woven basket. उसने आहिस्ता से कहा, मेरा अर्शक तरबूज पसंद करता है। वो घुटनों के बल झुका, तरबूज के गिर्द हाथ डाला और छलके की तरफ कान लगा के इसे ज़ोर से दबाया। आवाज़ सुनने पर उसने इस बात से सर हिला दिया। फिर वो अंजीर के दरख्त के पास चला गया, मुश्किल से दरख्त पर चढ़ा और शहद की तरह मीठे फूलों को तोड़ने लगा जो जगह ब जगह परिंदों ने ठोंग मारे थे। उसने अंजीर तोड़े और एहतियात के साथ चमकदार टोकरियों में बंद कर दिया। Then Navasard sent out along the bank to where a 6-month-old white lamb was grazing. He was saving the lamb for a special occasion. फिर नवासारद दरिया के किनारे चलने लगा, उससे उस तरफ जहाँ पर 6 माह का मेमना चल रहा था। वो उस मेमने को ख़ास मौके के लिए रखा था। Arshak has come home. I have finally lived to see the day, Navasarat said to himself and untethered the lamb. It belated loudly. Page 122. अर्शक घर आया, मैं इस दिन को देखने के लिए ज़िंदा हूँ, नवासारद ने खुद से कहा और मेमने को छोड़ दिया। ये बुलंद आवाज़ से मेमाने लगा। Let's go, fellow, Navasarat said. Come on, Arshak's home. He climbed the steep path to the village, the heavy basket pressed on his shoulders, while the meek and gentle lamb either ran on ahead or fell behind him. Where are you going so early in the day? The people he met on the way asked. Arshak has come home for a visit, the old man would reply proudly. आओ मेरे साथ ही चलो, नवासारद ने कहा। आए अर्शक के घर चले। वो गांव की तरफ ढलवान रास्ते पर चलने लगा। भारी टोकरी उसके कंधों पर पड़ी थी, जबकि कमज़ोर और असील मेमना या तो आगे आगे या पीछे पीछे चलती रही। रास्ते में जो लोग मिलते तो वो पूछते, तुम सुबह सवेरे कहाँ जा रहे हो? तो बूढ़ा आदमी फ़ख्री अंदाज से जवाब देता कि अर्शक मुलाकात के लिए घर आया है। On the way, each tree and bush, each stone and spring reminded him of Arshak's childhood. Many were the times that he carried the child up the steep path on his back. He would sit down to rest on this stone. Navasarad would give Arshak a peer and would wipe his nose with the hem of his long jacket. There was the spring which Arshak liked to drink from. Navasarad would cup his hands and Arshak would drink from them. Here was the small orchard. The trees still bore fruit abundantly and stayed green far into the autumn. When Arshak was 11, he fell from the cherry tree and broke his leg. Navasarad carried him the many miles to the doctor in the distant settlement. रास्ते में हर एक दरख्त, झाड़ी, पत्थर और चश्मे उसे अर्शक के बचपन की याद दिला रहे थे। पेज 123। बारहा ऐसा होता था कि वो बच्चे को अपनी पुश्त पर ढलवान रास्तों पर ले चल जाता था। वो इस पत्थर पर सताने के लिए बैठ जाता था। नवासारद अर्शक की तरफ देखकर अपनी जैकेट के किनारे से उसकी नाक साफ़ करता। एक चश्मा था जिससे अर्शक पानी पीना पसंद करता था। नवासारद अपने हाथ से प्याली बनाकर अर्शक को पानी पिला देता। यहाँ पर छोटा बाग था, दरख्तों पर अब भी कसरत से फल लगते थे और ये ख़ज़ां के मौसम तक सब्ज़ रहते थे। जब अर्शक की उम्र 11 साल थी, वो इस चेरी के दरख्त से गिरा था और इसकी टांग टूट गई थी। नवासारद उसे मीलों दूर एक अस्पताल डॉक्टर के पास ले गया था। Then Navasared thought of all the things he had sold to outfit Arshak for the city life when he had sent the boy off to study. It had been a long stretch, but Arshad graduated from the university and had then gone on to study in Moscow. He had risen high in the world. नवासारद उन चीज़ों के बारे में सोचने लगा जिनको उसने अर्शक को शहर में पढ़ने के लिए ख़र्चा देने के लिए बेच दिया था। ये एक तवील अरसा था, लेकिन अर्शक ने यूनिवर्सिटी से ग्रेजुएशन किया और फिर मज़ीद मुताले के लिए मॉस्को गया था। उसने दुनिया में नाम पैदा कर लिया था। Navasared would often tell his fellow villagers about the very important work Arshak was doing in the capital, about his grand car and that he lived in the biggest house in Moscow. नवासारद अक्सर अपने गांव वालों को अर्शक के उस अहम काम के बारे में बताता था जो वो दारुल हुकूमत में करता था, उसकी शानदार कार के बारे में और ये कि वो मॉस्को में एक बड़े महल में रहता था। The old man was in a hurry to reach the village. The meek and timid lamb followed on his heels. बूढ़ा आदमी गांव पहुंचने के लिए जल्दी में था। कमज़ोर और लागर मेमना बहुत तेज़ी से उसका पीछा करती रही। पेज 124। He finally reached his home but did not see Arshik's car outside. Why didn't he drive right up? Nawasard wondered. Oh, what I'm talking about. The gravel's too sharp here. He was probably afraid he had ruined his tires. It's good he didn't drive up to the house. वो आखिरकार घर पहुंच गया लेकिन घर के बाहर अर्शक की कार को नहीं देखा। नवासार ने सोचा कि वो गाड़ी यहाँ क्यों नहीं लेकर आया। मैं किसी चीज़ के बारे में बात कर रहा हूँ। यहाँ के संगरेज़े भी बहुत नुकीले हैं। शायद उसे डर था कि गाड़ी के टायर न खो दे। अच्छा है कि वो गाड़ी यहाँ घर तक नहीं ले आया। His one-story, flat-roofed house with a terrace and an earthen floor was like an eagle's nest stuck onto the mountain slope, one among many others. उसका एक मंजिला हमवार छत वाला घर जिसके साथ बरामदा और मिट्टी का फर्श था वो पहाड़ के ढलवान में उकाब के घोंसले की तरह दिखाई देता था, बहुत से घरों के दरमियान एक। Nawasad entered the yard, set the basket on the ground, tossed an armful of grass to the lamb, and looked about. For the first time in his life, the house looked pitiful and descript to him. नवासाद सहन में दाखिल हुआ, टोकरा ज़मीन पर रखा, बाजू भर घास मेमने के सामने डाला और इर्द गिर्द देखा। उसकी ज़िंदगी में पहली बार ये घर उसे हकीर और खस्ता हाल लगा। Well, it's Arshik's house too. This is where he grew up. He won't be ashamed of his own house, he said to console himself and began clearing the yard. ये तो अर्शक का भी घर है। ये वो जगह है जहाँ पर वो बड़ा हुआ। वो अपने घर पर नहीं शर्माएगा। पेज 125। उसने ख़ुद को तसल्ली देते हुए कहा और सहन को साफ करने लगा। Congratulations, Nawasad. Arshik's come back. It was the old neighbor woman looking over the fence. Nawasad flushed with joy. Thank you, and may your wanderer return as well. I saw Arshik. Was he here? नवासाद मुबारक हो, अर्शक वापस आया है। ये बूढ़ी पड़ोसन औरत थी जो कि बाहर की उस तरफ देख रही थी। नवासाद खुशी से झूम उठा और कहा, आपका शुक्रिया और खुदा करें कि तुम्हारे खाना बदोश मुसाफिर भी वापस आ जाएं। मैंने अर्शक को देखा, क्या वो यहाँ था? No, I went to the shop for a package of needles and saw him standing out in front of the farm office. What a fine boy he is. You had never say he wasn't a Shah's son. Just couldn't take my eyes off him. May the Lord bless you. नहीं, मैं सुइयों के पैकेट ख़रीदने के लिए दुकान गई और उसे फार्म दफ्तर के सामने खड़ा पाया। वो कितना अच्छा लड़का है। तुम कभी नहीं कहोगे कि वो शाह का बेटा है। मैं तो उससे नज़रें न हटा सकी। खुदा आप पर रहम करें। Thank you, the old woman said in a voice that was thick with emotions. He went about tidying up the yard with zeal. First he swept up the dirt. I don't want my boy to dirty his shoes. Then he hammered in a protruding nail with a rock. Page 126. Arshik might catch a sleeve on it and tear his jacket. बूढ़े शख्स ने जज्बात से भरी आवाज़ के साथ कहा, आपका शुक्रिया। वो जज्बे के साथ सहन को साफ़ करने के लिए घूमता रहा। पहले उसने गंद साफ़ कर दी। मैं नहीं चाहता कि मेरे बेटे को जूते गंदे हो जाएं। फिर उसने एक पत्थर से एक निकले हुए कील को ठोका कि शायद अर्शक की आस्तीन में अटक कर कहीं उसका जैकेट फट न जाए। Nawasad opened the door. Ford stood forlornly against the bare wall. I'll say, remember how you slept on this bed, Arshak, and I slept here on the floor. He was thinking as he smoothed the cover. I'll say, this is your old bowl, the one you ate from. Look, Arshak, this is your wooden spoon. Remember the day I bought it from the wooden carver, Manas? And you were angry because there was no design on it. And then I took it to the artist and had it painted for you. नवासारत ने दरवाज़ा खोला। एक घसे हुए दीवार के साथ एक चारपाई बुरे हाल में खड़ी थी। मैं कहूँगा, अर्शक, याद करो कि तुम किस तरह इस चारपाई पर सोते थे और मैं यहाँ इस फर्श पर सोता था। पर्दे को हमवार करते हुए सोच रहा था। मैं कहूँगा, ये तुम्हारा पुराना प्याला है जिसमें तुम खाते थे। देखो अर्शक, ये तुम्हारी चोबी चम्मच है। वो दिन याद करो जिस दिन मैंने इसे चोप तराश मनास से ख़रीदा और तुम नाराज़ थे क्योंकि इसके ऊपर नक्श नगार नहीं थे। और फिर मैं इसे आर्टिस्ट के पास लेके गया और तुम्हारे लिए इस पर निगारी की। Conversing thus in thought with Arshak, he set out for the spring, bought some water and sprinkled the yard, the terrace and the floor inside. Then he began to sweep. इस तरह अर्शक के साथ सोचों में गुफ्तगू करते हुए वो चश्मे की तरफ रवाना हुआ। पेज 127। पानी लाया और सहन में छिड़काव किया और बरामदे और अंदर फर्श पर भी। फिर वो झाड़ू देने लगा। Once again the old neighbor woman had appeared over the fence. Nawar said, "Do you know the Arshak has gone over to the chairman's?" "No. When did he go there?" "Just before you got back. He must have seen there was no one at home and gone over there to rest up. He'll be along. He won't get lost." "Of course." एक बार फिर पड़ोसन औरत बाढ़ के ऊपर से नमूदार हुई। नवाज साहिद, क्या तुम जानते हो कि अर्शक चेयरमैन के घर गया है? नहीं, वो कब वहाँ गया? तुम्हारे आने से ज़रा पहले। इसने देखा होगा कि घर में कोई भी मौजूद नहीं है और वहाँ आराम करने गया होगा। वो उसके पास होगा, वो भटक नहीं सकता। बेशक। Nawaz brought some kindling wood and stacked it by the outdoor fireplace. Then he took his knife from his belt and went over to the lamp. At the last moment he changed his mind. "I'll wait till Arshak comes," he decided, and looked in the direction of the chairman's two-story house. "What's keeping him? It will be dark soon. The figs will spoil. The cornel will lose its taste." नवाज सारिद कुछ टहनियाँ लेकर आया और बाहर चूल्हे के पास जमा कर दिया। फिर वो बैलेट से चाकू निकाल कर मेमने के पास गया। आखिरी लम्हे उसने अपना इरादा बदल दिया। "मैं अर्शक के आने का इंतज़ार करता हूँ।" पेज 128। उसने यह फ़ैसला किया और चेयरमैन की 2 मंजिला मकान की जानब नज़र उठाकर देखा। किस चीज़ ने उसे रोका है? अंधेरा जल्द छा जाएगा, अंजीर ख़राब हो जाएंगे और मगज़ के अंदर के हिस्से का जायका ख़त्म हो जाएगा। He took the fruit from the basket and laid it on the windowsill. Then he borrowed a new tablecloth from the neighbor, covered the table, shook out the rug, covered the couch and put a pillow on it. इसने टोकरे से फल लिए और इस खिड़की के तख्ते पर रखा। फिर उसने पड़ोसियों से मेज़ का कपड़ा उधार लिया, टेबल पर डाला, चटाई बिछाई, चारपाई पर चादर डाली और उसमें तकिया रखा। Everything was now ready. Still Arshak had not come. What's the matter? Why did he go to the chairman's house? Nawaz Saad wondered irritably, and a tremor passed through his hands. He hurried to console himself, however, saying, "Arshak is an important man. He had to drop by and ask the chairman about how the things are in the village. And what's a rush, anyway? I'll have him all myself for a couple of days. I won't let him out of my sight. We will make up for the lost time." अब हर चीज़ तैयार थी, फिर भी अर्शक नहीं आया था। ये क्या मामला है? वो चेयरमैन के घर क्यों गया? नवाज सारिद परेशानी के साथ सोचता रहा। उसके हाथ कांपने लगे। ताहम उसने ये कहते हुए ख़ुद को तसल्ली दी, अर्शक एक अहम शख्स है, उसे रुककर और चेयरमैन से मुलाकात करके गाँव के मामलात के बारे में पूछना था, और बहरहाल जल्दी किया है। 2 दिन वो मुकम्मल तौर पर मेरे पास होगा। मैं उसे अपनी नज़रों से ओझल नहीं होने दूंगा और हम ज़ाया शुदा वक्त की तलाफ़ी करेंगे। The sun was setting, but still Arshak had not come home. The old man's anxiety mounted. There was a moment when he was about to set out for the chairman's house, but then he changed his mind. सूरज ग़रूब हो रहा था, लेकिन फिर भी अर्शक घर नहीं आया था। बूढ़े शख्स की परेशानी बढ़ती गई। एक लम्हा ऐसा आया कि वो चेयरमैन के घर रवाना होने वाला था, लेकिन फिर उसने इरादा बदल दिया। He went into the yard and called to his neighbor's grandson. "Run over and see what Arshak is doing. Tell him I am at home waiting for him," he said. The boy was back in no time. "Well, did you see Arshak? What's he doing? Drinking tea? Did you tell him that I am home?" "Yes." "What did he say?" "He said all right." वो सहन में चला गया और पड़ोसी के नवासे को आवाज़ देकर बुलाया। "दौड़ कर जाओ और देखकर अर्शक क्या कर रहा है," इसने कहा। "जाकर उसे बताओ कि मैं घर पर हूँ और तुम्हारा इंतज़ार कर रहा हूँ।" लड़का बहुत जल्दी वापस आया। "अच्छा, क्या तुमने अर्शक को देखा? वो क्या कर रहा था? चाय पी रहा था? क्या तुमने बताया कि मैं घर पर हूँ?" "हाँ।" इसने क्या जवाब दिया? इसने कहा, "ठीक है." Nawaz Saad repeated the words of himself. "Well, then that means he'll soon be home. I'll start the fire for the shashlik meanwhile." He had a good fire going in the fireplace. Then he set to cleaning the skewers. He went back into the house, wiped the dust off the lamp and sat down at the table to wait. नवाज सारिद ने दिल में अल्फाज दोहराए। अच्छा, फिर इसका मतलब यह है कि वो जल्दी घर आएगा। इतने में में कबाब बनाने के लिए आग जला दूंगा। उसने चूल्हे में अच्छी आग जलाई, फिर वो सीख साफ करने लगा। वापस घर गया, लैंप से गर्द को झाड़ दिया और मेज़ पर बैठकर इंतज़ार करने लगा। टाइम ड्रैग्ड ऑन एंडलेसली. The lights went on in the village and the house took on a cozy look. The street noises were dying down soon. The only sound was that of dogs barking mournfully in the distance. इंतज़ार का वक्त बढ़ता रहा। गांव की रोशनियां बुझ गईं और घरों के अंदर खामोशी फैल गई। गलियों के शोर मध्यम पड़ने लगे। वाहिद आवाज़ उन कुत्तों की थी जो दूर से गमगीन अंदाज में भौंक रहे थे। Arshik had still not returned. The fire died down, leaving a mound of ashes in the fireplace, while the lamb lay on the grass, chewing its cud. Nawasard was all ears as he peered into the darkness. His eyes became strained and started to tear. His head felt heavy. He rose, but his feet refused to budge. Why should I go begging to him? I am older than he is. He should come to me. He began to grumble, but consoled himself once again by saying, well, he's an important man. Maybe he has some important business to discuss with the chairman. He'll come home in the morning. अर्शिक अब भी नहीं लौटा था। आग बुझ गई और चूल्हे में राख एक ढेर छोड़ गई, जबकि बकरी घास में लेटकर घास चबा रही थी। नवासारद तरीकी में देखकर हमातन गोश था। उसकी आंखें तन कर फटने लगीं। उसका सर भारी महसूस होने लगा। वो उठा, लेकिन उसकी टांगों ने जवाब दिया, मैं क्यों उससे मन्नत करने जाऊं? मैं उससे बड़ा हूं, उसे मेरे पास आना चाहिए। वो बड़बड़ाने लगा, लेकिन फिर एक बार ख़ुद को तसल्ली दी और कहा, अच्छा, वो एक अहम आदमी है। शायद वो चेयरमैन में से अहम मामलात पर बहस कर रहा हो। वो सुबह के वक्त घर आ जाएगा। But still he waited. He waited far into the small hours. The autumn night was drawing to a close. The old man's eyes grew dim for peering intently into the darkness. Slumber gradually lulled him to the sleep at the table. लेकिन फिर भी वो इंतज़ार करता रहा। वो बहुत देर तक इंतज़ार करता रहा। मौसम ख़ज़ां की रात ख़त्म होने वाली थी। बूढ़े शख्स की आंखें तारीकी की तरफ इन्हमाक के साथ देखने की वजह से धुंधला गई थीं। ऊँग ने आहिस्ता आहिस्ता लोरी देकर मेज़ पर ही सुला दिया। He did not know how long he had slept. He was awakened by the neighbor woman's voice calling from the yard. He opened his eyes and was surprised to see the first rays of the sun peeping into the window. Nawasard, hey Nawasard, the neighbor called. उसे इल्म था कि वो कितनी देर तक सोया था। पड़ोसी औरत की आवाज़ ने उसे जगा दिया, जो कि सहन से आवाज़ें दे रही थी। उसने आंखें खोली और खिड़की में सूरज की शुआएं अंदर आती हुई देखकर हैरान हुआ। पड़ोसी ने आवाज़ दी, हाँ, हे Nawasard, हे Nawasard. He rushed out the house. His neighbor was looking over the fence. How come you have slept so late today? What is it? Is Arshik on his way here? No, she said and shook her hand. Your Arshik is leaving. Look at the road. वो जल्दी से घर से बाहर आया। उसका पड़ोसी बाड़ के ऊपर से देख रही थी। आज तुम इतनी देर तक क्यों सोए हो? ये क्या है? क्या अर्शिक रास्ते में है? नहीं, उसने सर हिलाते हुए कहा, तुम्हारा अर्शिक जा रहा है, सड़क की तरफ देखो। Nawasard felt as if the roof had come down on his head. He ran over to the low shed and climbed to the roof. Arshik's car was speeding along the road, glittering in the sun, quickly becoming smaller and smaller. नवासर्द को ऐसा महसूस हुआ कि गोया उसके ऊपर छत आ गिरा है। वो दौड़कर साहिबां पर चढ़ा और फिर ऊपर छत पर चला गया। अर्शिक की कार सड़क पर तेज़ रफ्तारी के साथ दौड़ रही थी, धूप में चमकती हुई और जल्दी जल्दी छोटी होती हुई। His unsteady gait was that of an old man. Nawasard was making his way down the path to the orchards. His eyes that stared at the ground seemed to have become sunken. His back seemed more stooped than ever. The white lamb gamboled after him. उसकी लड़खड़ाती हुई चाल एक बूढ़े आदमी सी थी। नवासर्द नीचे बागात की तरफ रास्ते पर चल रहा था। उसकी आंखें, जो कि ज़मीन को घूर रही थी, वो धंसते हुए मालूम हो रही थी। उसकी कमर पहले से ज़्यादा झुकी हुई थी। सफ़ेद मेमना उसके पीछे उछलती कूदती हुई आ रही थी। पेज 133 Comprehension. Answer the following questions. Question 1. What arrangements were made by Nawasard for the coming home of Arshik? Answer. Nawasard was very much excited. He picked watermelon and figs for Arshik. He had saved a lamb for the special occasion for Arshik's coming home. He went home, cleaned the house, swept the yard, sprinkled it with water, laid the table, and anxiously began to wait for him. Question number 2. Why was Navasad so excited at the arrival of the Arshak? As Navasad was the only son of his brother and sister-in-law, he was in Moscow for higher studies since long. He had not seen him for the last 10 years. That was why he was so much excited at his arrival. Question 3. Describe the plight of Navasad after the departure of Arshak without meeting him. After knowing Arshak was leaving the village without meeting him, Navasad was in very miserable condition. He felt as if the roof had come down on his head. He was very sorry for his indifferent attitude of Arshak. He took his way towards the orchard with his back seemed more stooped than ever. Question 4. What is the central idea of story? White lamp. Disobedient, proud, and thankless child is more painful than anything in this world. Here in this story, it has been stated that when someone gets high status in society, he forgets his real position and the past life. The theme is very much relevant to our culture. Page 134. Question 5. Write down the plot of the story The White Lamb. Answer. Plot is the series of events through which it develops. In this story, the plot is strong, good, and coherent. The events take place in a very integrated way. This plot has conflict, growth of characters, and climax. Apart from these, it has also suspense till the end of the story. This technique maintains our interest till the end. Question 6. Is there any conflict in the story, and if yes, how is it resolved? Yes, there is a conflict in the story. When Navasad reaches home and finds that Arshak has gone to Chairman's home without any apparent reason, he starts wondering. His conflict rises, and it reaches its climax when he is waiting anxiously for Arshak, but he does not return until he falls asleep on the table. Navasad thinks about many reasons of his not returning, but at last the issue is resolved when he is told in the morning that Arshak is leaving village without meeting him. Question 7. How would you resolve the conflict if you are the author of The White Lamb? I would have resolved the conflict by making Arshak return in time to his real home. He would meet his benefactor Navasad in a very happy mood. They would have showed great love for each other. They would have a nice and friendly conversation with each other after long 10 years. They would have some discussion about past life and the matters about village life. Question 8. Compare and contrast the character of Navasad and Arshak. Navasad is a simple, kind, and sympathetic man. He has a great love for Arshak. He has reared him well. He has sold many things for him to send him to university for graduation. He misses him a lot as he has not met Arshak for 10 years. He is so much excited when he is told that Arshak has returned to his village. But on the other hand, Arshak seems to be disobedient, arrogant, and proud. He is a modern, educated youth, having all the wealth of the world, but he has lost his character. He has lost attachment with his village and his small cottage home where he spent his childhood. He returns to village but does not meet his benefactor. Navasad, whose efforts have taken him to the heights of success, he goes to Chairman's two-storied house and leave village the next day without meeting Navasad. Question 9. How sharper than a serpent's tooth it's to have a thankless child? Evaluate this statement. This statement is very much true. It is fact that the bad behavior and arrogance of one's own child is more painful than anything else in the world. Nothing hurts us hard more than the ungrateful child. Here in the story, Navasad is greatly hurt by the arrogant behavior of Arshak, the man who gave financial help and paternal love to an orphan child Arshak. Question 10. Draw the character of Arshak. Was he justified in leaving village without meeting Navasad? Arshak is not a good character. His actions show indifference, pride, arrogance, ingratitude, and disobedience. He had returned village after a long time. Page 136. It was his moral duty to meet Navasad, who had reared him and rendered great sacrifices to make him an educated person. Now he was a wealthy man. He was ashamed for coming to his ordinary home and spend time with Navasad, who is a simple poor peasant. He is indeed not justified in leaving village without meeting Navasad. Vocabulary and grammar. A. Use the word in parentheses to form a new word to fill in the blanks. According to experts, the way you spend your free time is vital to your general happiness. Happy and get. The right balance is very important. Leisure time should include form of exercise idealize, ideal, something that you find enjoy. Most people also gain satisfaction, satisfy from doing something creative, create, such as painting, cooking, or gardening. However, not all are your free time companionship. Companion is also important to most people's sense of well-being, but you must find the right kind of social interact. Member in some groups, such as politics parties, can simply lead to stress and frustrate. Joining a society group like a blood donation society or yoga classes are likely to be much more beneficial. Benefit. Grammar. A. Tell whether the verbs are transitive or intransitive. 1. She was crying all day long. Intransitive. Page 137. 2. We showed her 2 photo album. Transitive. 3. Doctor advised me to exercise regularly. Transitive. 4. It was raining at that time. Intransitive. She laughed at the joke. Intransitive. She gave a cookie to the child. Transitive. 7. They slept in the street. Intransitive. 8. I ate the cherries. Transitive. 9. My father doesn't drink coffee. Transitive. 10. He always keeps his money in the wallet. Transitive. B. State whether the verbs in the following sentences are transitive or intransitive. Put a tick on the correct option. 1. She advised me to consult a doctor. Transitive. 2. Let's invite your cousins as well. Transitive. 3. I waited for an hour. Intransitive. 4. I received your letter in the morning. Transitive. 5. I am going to send her some flowers. Transitive. 6. He has changed a lot since he got married. Intransitive. 7. Suddenly the child woke up. Intransitive. 8. The loud noise woke me. Transitive. 9. Let's discuss your plans. Transitive. 10. I heard a lovely song in the morning. Transitive. B. Tell whether the verbs in the following sentences are transitive, intransitive, then use these verbs in your own sentences. 1. Some ants fight furiously. Intransitive. 2. The explosion sank the ship. Transitive. 3. He spoke loudly. Intransitive. Page 138. 4. Boil the water. Transitive. 5. The horse kicked the boy. Transitive. The watchman blew his whistle. Transitive. 7. He took shelter under a tree. Intransitive. 8. The birds sang sweetly. Intransitive. 9. The fire burns brightly. Intransitive. 10. Birds fly in the sky. Intransitive. 11. Time heals all wounds. Transitive. 12. You surprised me. Transitive. Do sit down. Intransitive. 14. I usually sleep well. Intransitive. 15. Let's eat something. Transitive. Note: some verbs can be used transitive and intransitive depending on the context. Use in the sentences. 1. Fight. He fought bravely. 2. Snack. The ship snack. 3. Spoke. He spoke to me in the morning. 4. Boil. The water boiled at 100 degrees Celsius. 5. Kick. He kicked the man hard. 6. Blow. He always blow his whistle. 7. Took. He took notice of the matter. 8. Song. She sang a song. 9. Burn. The fire burns in the kitchen. 10. Fly. Birds fly in the air. 11. Heal. Time heals our wounds. 12. Surprise. The news surprised all of them. 13. Sit. Please sit here. 14. Sleep. He slept well. 15. Eat. I eat twice a day. Unit 10. The world is too much with us. Poem. Page 139. The world is too much with us, late and soon. Getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon. This sea that bears her bosom to the moon. The winds that will be howling at all hours, and are up gathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune. हम मादी कामों में बहुत मगन हैं, जल्द या देर कमाते हैं और ख़र्च करते हैं और अपनी तवानाइयाँ ज़ाया करते हैं। हम फितरत को बहुत कम ध्यान देते हैं जो कि हमारे लिए है। हमने इसको अपना दिल दे दिया है जो कि अच्छी बात नहीं है। समंदर जो कि चाँद को अपना सीना दिखाता है और हवाएं जो कि हमा वक्त चलती हैं और अब खामोश फूलों की तरह जमा हैं। इस तरह के सब सहर अंगेज़ मनाजिर की तारीफ़ हमसे नहीं हो सकती। It moves us not, great God, I had rather be a pagan suckled in a creed outworn. So might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that would make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton below his reed horn. पेज 140। अजीम खुदा, ये हमको मुतासर नहीं करते, हम तो फितरत को गहरी निगाह से देखकर इसमें गुम हो जाता हूँ, बल्कि मैं तो इसकी मोहब्बत में बेदीन बन जाता हूँ। बस मैं दिल मुँह लेने वाले मरग़ज़ार में खड़ा हूँ और ऐसे मनाज़र देखता हूँ जो मुझे तन्हा करते। मैं समुंदरी देवता को भी लहरों में सर उठा के देखता हूँ और कदीम समुंदरी खुदा को भी मुज़य्यन हॉर्न बजाते हुए सुन सकता हूँ। Comprehension. Answer the following questions. Question 1. What is the theme of poem? The world is too much with us. How is it developed in the poem? Answer. The main theme of this poem is the loss of nature and natural world and the bad effects of busy and artificial life on us. The poet says that people have become materialistic and they have no time to appreciate natural beauties. The poet uses figurative language to highlight the idea from the start to the end that nature gives spiritual pleasure while following material gains make man hollow. Question 2. What is the tone of the poem? The world is too much with us. Answer. The poet is very sorry for the loss of nature and he is much worried that man is indifferent towards nature. The tone of the poem is sad. It is like a poem mourning the death. At the end of the poem, he is depressed at what he notices in this material world. Page 141. The poet seems to be much dissatisfied. Question 3. What have made people insensitive to the beauty of nature? Answer. Wordsworth said that rat race of mankind for material gain has made people insensitive to the beauty of nature. They have become so senseless that they do not realize the loss and fail to perceive beauty in nature. Question 4. What literary devices have been used by Wordsworth that gives richness to the meaning of the poem? Answer. Many literary devices have been used to bring richness to the poem. For example, the poem contains allusion to Greek mythology like reference to Proteus and Triton. The poet has used personification when he says, "Sea that bears her bosom to the moon," and sleeping flowers. Similarly, in line, "suckled in the creed outworn," there is a metaphor. Consonants and assonance have also been used by repeating the sounds of S, F, and T, and the sounds of O in the live or hear old Triton below his wreathed horn. In the same way, sleeping flower is the only simile used in the poem. Question 5. What is personification? Pick out some examples of it from the poem. Personification is a figure of speech in which human characteristics are attributed to non-human or inanimate objects. The poet Wordsworth has used this device in his poem at several places, such as 1. Sea that bears her bosom to the moon. 2. The wind that will be howling at all hours. 3. Sleeping flowers. Page 142. All these expressions have enriched the poem a lot. Question 6. Write down the rhyme scheme of the poem. The world is too much with us. Answer. The poem. The world is too much with us followed A, B, B, A, B, B, A rhyme in the octave part and C, D, C, D, C, D in the sestet part. Writing suggestions. B. Paraphrase the following lines. Answer. For the answer of this question, see paraphrase section. Vocabulary and grammar. Use dictionary to find meaning of the following words. Identify the part of speech of the words to abbreviations used and find guide and entry words. Guide words. Guide words are found at the top of each page of dictionary. They tell you the first and last word that is found on the page. For example, the word permit is guide word, and on that page you can find words like permit, permutation, pernicious, perpetrate, perpetrator, perpetual, etc. Similarly, green gauge is guide words, and on that page you can find words like greengrocer, grade, gregorines, grid, grieve, grievance, etc. Entry words. A word or term often in distinctive type placed at the beginning of an entry. Or entry words are the words that can be looked up in a dictionary. For example, lively, entry word. lively, lively pronunciation. Adjective, parts of speech, full of energy, meaning. Similarly, you can find guide and entry words in dictionary. 1. Optional. Adjective, इख्तियारी या पसंद पर मौकूफ. Guide word, opposite. Entry word, oppress, opt, optic, option, etc. 2. Instructions. Noun. Hadayat या तलकीन. Guide word inspiration. Entry words inspire, install, institute, instruct. 3. Independently. आज़ादी से या बेताल्लुक़ किसी. Adjective. Guide words incur. Entry word indecent, indemnity, indent, independence, independence. 4. Terms. Noun. शरायत या इस्तिलाही लफ्ज़. Guide word tentacle. Entry word tenure, term, terminate, termite, terms. 5. Genius. Adjective गैर मामूली काबिलियत का हामिल. Guide word generation. Entry words generator, generous, genital, genitive, etc. 6. Specimen. Noun नमूना या मिसाल. Guide word specification. Entry word specificity, specify, specimen, etc. 7. Peers. Noun हम रुतबा साथी हमसर. Guide words pedal, pea, peak, peel, peer, etc. Page 144. 8. Acceptable. Adjective काबिल कबूल. Guide words abstruse, exceed, etc. Entry words accelerate, accent, accept, acceptance. 9. Assignment. Noun हवाला शुदा काम. Guide word assistance. Entry word assist, assiduous, assign, etc. 10. Mental. Adjective ज़हनी दिमागी पागल. Guide word melon, menstruate. Entry word menstrual, menswear, ment, etc. Grammar. Use the words in brackets as participles in the blank. A. A waiting boy. 2. A interesting story. 3. A broken car. 4. The forgotten pizza. 5. The working father. 6. I saw him going. 7. The repaired computer. 8. The talking student. 9. Excited fans. 10. The girl living next door. B. Fill in the blanks with participles present or past. 1. He saw his friend going out with Mariam. The bus crashed into the blue car driving down the hill. Page 145. 3. Ayan hurt his leg doing karate. 4. The umbrella found at the bus stop belongs to Abrar. 5. The people dancing in the street are all very friendly. 6. I heard my mother talking on the phone. 7. My uncle always has his car washed. 8. We stood waiting for the taxi. 9. Looking down from the tower, we saw many people walking. 10. The people drove off in a stolen car. C. Put the verbs in the bracket and as past participles. 1. Repaired watches. 2. Stolen computers. 3. Fascinated fans. 4. Bored students. 5. Confused boys. 6. Forgotten umbrellas. 7. Disappointed girls. 8. Swapped comics. 9. Worried doctors. 10. Amused queens. D. Put the verbs in bracket as present participles. 1. Barking dogs. 2. Playing children. 3. Screaming girls. 4. Fighting cowboys. 5. Swimming ducks. 6. Crying babies. Page 146. 7. Running water. 8. Singing teachers. 9. Falling leaves. 10. Lying people. Page 147, Unit 11, The Importance of Family. To understand how crucial the existence of strong family is to the civilization of free spirit, we might meditate on the fact that the first of target of tyrants and utopians of political right and left is always the family. From Plato and Marx to Mao and those thinkers who want society organized so individuals will fit into some overarching 5-year plan for the ideal republic. The ideal socialist or religious state inevitably try to replace the family and place the education of young in the hand of state-run institutions. Under the banner of freeing women for productive work or liberating the young from the prejudices of the old or instilling the values necessary for an ideal commonwealth, parents and children are separated or allowed minimal contact. The motive behind this antipathy toward the family is not difficult to find, so long as men and women's prime loyalty is to family and kin. They cannot be controlled by the state or any other institution, but if they can be convinced to switch their loyalty to some higher cause or institution, they will obey the dictates of their leaders. ये समझने के लिए कि एक मजबूत ख़ानदान का वजूद आज़ाद इंसानों की तहज़ीब के लिए कितना अहम है, हमें इस हकीकत पर गौर करना चाहिए कि सियासी दुनिया के दाएं और बाएं के जाबिर और ख़याली हुक्मरान का वाहिद निशाना सिर्फ ख़ानदान है। अफलातून से मार्क्स और माओ तक वो फ़िलासफ़र्स जो चाहते हैं कि पेज 148 मुआशरा मुनज़्ज़म हो जाए ताकि फ़र्द एक मिसाली जमहूरिया, एक मिसाली सोशलिस्ट और मजहबी रियासत के 5 साला वसी मंसूबे के सांचे में ढल सकें। वो लाजमी तौर पर चाहते हैं कि ख़ानदान की जगह ले लें और तलीम को हुकूमती सरपरस्ती में चलने वाले अदारों के हाथ में दे दें। मानी है इस काम के लिए औरतों की आज़ादी या नौजवान लोगों की बड़ी उम्र के लोगों की तासब से आज़ादी दिलाने के परचम तले यह मिसाली दौलत मुश्तरका के लिए ज़रूरी तादाद की तश्कील के लिए वालिदैन और बच्चों को जुदा किया जाता है या उनके राब्ते और ताल्लुक़ कम से कम किया जाता है। ख़ानदान के ख़िलाफ़ इस शदीद नफ़रत के पीछे मक़ासद मालूम करना मुश्किल नहीं है। जब तक मर्द और ख़वातीन की वफ़ादारी ख़ानदान से हो, यह रियासत या दूसरा अदारा कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन अगर इनको किसी अजीम मकसद या अदारे की खातिर वफ़ादारी तब्दील करने पर कायल किया जा सके तो अपने रहनुमाओं की हिदायत पर अमल करेंगे। For better or worse, the family is the first line of defense against dehumanization and misplaced loyalty. Within the privacy of home, we may think, speak, and worship as we please. We may educate our children in the value we cherish and teach them respect for the tradition we uphold, because it is easiest to love our own children unconditionally. The family is the natural school of love. Loving our kin, we may gradually learn to extend kindness to strangers and become children incarnate our hopes. They are visceral evidence of wisdom of investing our time and care in the lives of others. ख्वाह अच्छा हो या बुरा, लेकिन ख़ानदानी निज़ाम गैर इंसानी रवैयों, नामुनासिब वफ़ादारी के ख़िलाफ़ सफ़े अव्वल की हैसियत रखता है। घर के खलवत के अंदर हम अपनी मर्ज़ी के मुताबिक सोच और बोल सकते हैं और इबादत कर सकते हैं। हम अपने बच्चों को उन अक़दार की तालीम देते हैं जो हम अज़ीज़ रखते हैं और उन्हें उन रवायात का एहतराम सिखाते हैं जो हम कायम करते हैं, क्योंकि अपने बच्चों से गैर मशरूत मोहब्बत सबसे ज़्यादा आसान है। पेज 149। और ख़ानदान मोहब्बत का एक फितरती मदरसा है। अपने अजीज़ों से मोहब्बत रफ्ता रफ्ता हमें अजनबियों से मोहब्बत भी सिखाती है, और चूँकि बच्चे हमारी उम्मीदों का अमली जामा पहनाते हैं और वो दूसरों की ज़िंदगियों को वक्त देने और उनके लिए मुतफ़क्किर होने के लिए हमारी अक्ल व दानिश के बातिनी सबूत हैं। Almost without noticing it, we are voluntarily eroding the freedom and surrendering the loyalties no tyrant could take from us without a fight. By our increasingly slavish devotion to the economic order, we are destroying the cradle of freedom. The iron law of profit is best served by those who are willing to personalize themselves by valuing efficiency above compassion and devotion to the competitive goal of the corporation over loyalty to family. और इसका अदराक किए बगैर हम रज़ाकाराना तौर पर आज़ादी को ख़त्म कर रहे हैं और वफ़ादारियाँ छोड़ रहे हैं कि कोई भी जाबिर लड़े बगैर हम उनसे नहीं छीन सकता, लेकिन मुआशी लिहाज से हमारी ग़ुलामाना अक़ीदत की वजह से हम आज़ादी के गहवारे को तबाह कर रहे हैं। मुनाफ़े के नाकाबिल तरदीद कानून पर वो लोग अमल करते हैं जो दर्दमंदी और अक़ीदत से बढ़कर ख़ानदान की वफ़ादारी के मक़ासद पर ज़ाती तौर पर अमल करते हैं। History of the world economics contain a parable that illuminates our present dilemma and offer a challenge to the men and women. Originally, economics meant the art of managing a household, and it contained the notion of thrift and voluntary simplicity. Later, under the impact of industrial revolution, economics came to mean the system of production, distribution, and consumption of commodities. When factory, store, office, and bank usurped the loyalties of men and replaced the home as a center of economic activity. Page 150. Women who choose to give serious attention to homemaking were given the condescending title of home economics, and the final transformation, which is to say degradation of the dignity of the home, is symbolized by recent change made at University of Iowa. What was once the College of Home Economics has now been renamed of the College of Consumer Sciences. दुनिया के माशियात की तारीख़ में एक नज़ीर मौजूद है जो हमारी मौजूदा मुश्किल हालात को मुनव्वर करती है और मर्द व ख़वातीन को एक चैलेंज देती है। असल में मुआशात का मैनी है घरेलू उमूर चलाने का सलीका, और इसमें कफ़ायत शारी रज़ाकाराना सादगी का नज़रिया शामिल है। बाद में सनअती इनकलाब के ज़ेर असर मुआशियात का मतलब अशिया खुद नोश की पैदावार और तकसीम और इस्तेमाल बन गया। जब कारखाने, स्टोर, दफ्तर और बैंक ने मर्दों की वफादारियाँ छीन लीं और घर घर नहीं बल्कि मुआशी सरगर्मियों का मरकज़ बन गया, तो ख़वातीन जो कि मामलात ख़ानदारी को बहुत संजीदगी से लेती थीं, उनको होम इकनॉमिस्ट का मामूली दर्जा दिया गया। और आखिरी तब्दीली जिसको घर के वक़ार के इन्हितात कहा जा सकता है, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ आयोवा में हालिया तब्दीलियों की वजह से वक़ूफ़ पज़ीर हुई। जिसको कभी कॉलेज ऑफ होम इकनॉमिक्स कहा जाता था, अब उसे कॉलेज ऑफ कंज्यूमरिज्म साइंसेस का नाम दिया गया है। Only revolution that will heal us is one in which men and women came together and placed the creation of rich family life back in the center of horizon of our values. A letter I got recently from a woman makes a point. Perhaps the real shift will come when men fully realize in their gut and not just in head that they are equally responsible with women for nurturing and protection of children. वाहिद इनकलाब जो हमारा इलाज कर सकता है वो ये है कि मर्द और ख़वातीन बाहम मिलकर हमारी शानदार और बेबहा ख़ानदानी ज़िंदगी को वापस हमारे इक़दार के उफ़क़ के मरकज़ में रख दें। एक खातून से हालिया मौसूला एक ख़त में कहा गया कि शायद हकीकी तब्दीली उस वक्त आएगी जब मर्द मुकम्मल तौर पर ये महसूस करेंगे, पेज 151, सरसरी तौर पर नहीं बल्कि अंदरूनी तौर पर, कि वह बच्चों की नगाहदश्त और हिफाजत के लिए ख़वातीन के साथ बराबर के ज़िम्मेदार हैं। You may object, all of this is well enough in theory, but unfortunately, in fact, for many people, the family was a vicious trap and a cruel destiny. The people that should have been a sanctuary was often torture house. The arms that should have helped us often pushed us away. Many flee the family because it was a place of injury, captivity, disappointment, abuse. The children of alcoholics and abusive parents fear marriages and family and find their solace in becoming solitary. There are so many bad marriages and dysfunctional families, it sometimes seems only reasonable to junk the institution or invent a replacement. True enough, but hope of replacing the family with some more perfect institution like high-tech pipe dreams of creating space colonies into which we can escape when we have polluted the earth have proven to be both and deluded. It is within the bonds of what is familial that we must live or perish. तुम शायद इस बात पर एतराज़ करोगे कि नज़री एतबार से ये तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, मगर बदकिस्मती से अमली तौर पर बहुत से लोगों के ख़्याल में एक बुरा अदम और ज़ालिम तकदीर है। वो जगह जो कि एक महफूज जगह होनी चाहिए थी, वो अक्सर टॉर्चर हाउस, अजियत का मुकाम बन जाता है। वो बाजू जिनको हमारा मददगार होना चाहिए था, उन्होंने अक्सर हमें दूर धकेल दिया। बहुत से लोग ख़ानदान से दूर भागते हैं क्योंकि ये बुरे बर्ताव, ज़रर, ग़ुलामी और मायूसी की जगह थी। आदि शराबियों और गैर मुहज़्ज़ब वालिदैन के बच्चे शादी और ख़ानदानी निज़ाम से खौफ खाते हैं और तन्हाई में सुकून तलाश करते हैं। ऐसे बहुत से ख़राब शादियाँ और नाकिस और गैर फ़ाल ख़ानदान होते हैं कि बाज़ औक़ात इस अदारे को जुदा करना या इसका मुतबादिल तलाश करना माकूल लगता है। ये एक बड़ी हकीकत है, पेज 152। मगर ख़ानदानी निज़ाम को कोई मुकम्मल मुतबादिल की उम्मीद खलाई कॉलोनियों की तरह एक नाकाबिल अमल और नामुमकिन ख्वाब है जहाँ पर हम पनाह ले सकते हैं जबकि हमने दुनिया का आलूदा कर दिया है। ये मंसूबा और ख्वाब नामुमकिन भी है और फ़रेब पर मबनी भी है। ये हमारे ख़ानदानी निज़ाम के बंधन की दस्तरस में है कि हम तो यहाँ ज़िंदा रहें और यहाँ सफ़ाए हस्ती से मिट जाएं। Fortunately, the profusion of dysfunctional families does not necessarily predict a grim future for the family. One of the standard themes in mythology is the promise of the wounded healer. In our heart lies the source of our healing. The bird with the broken and mended wings soar the highest. Where you stumble and fall, there you find the treasure. खुशकिस्मती से गैर फ़ाल ख़ानदानों की कसरत ज़रूरी तौर पर ख़ानदान के भयानक मुस्तक़बिल की पेशगोई नहीं करती। पुरानी देवी देवताओं की कहानियों में एक मयारी मौजू ज़ख्मों के मंदमल करने वाले ज़ख्मी के वादे का जिक्र है। हमारे ज़ख्मों में ज़ख्मों के मंदमल होने का ज़रिया है। टूटे और मुरम्मत शुदा परों वाला परिंदा ज़्यादा ऊंचा उड़ता है। जहाँ पर भी आप लड़खड़ा कर गिर पड़ते हैं, वहाँ पर तुम्हें ख़जाना मिल जाता है। One of man's greatest resources for change is our wound and our longing for the missing father. We can heal ourselves by becoming the kind of fathers we wanted but did not have. Create out of void, out of the absence. Our best map for parenting is outlined like a photographic negative in the show side of our psyche. Get in touch your disappointment, your rage, your grief, your loneliness for the father, the intimate touching family you did not have, and you will find a blueprint of parenting. Become the father you longed for. We heal ourselves by learning to give our children what we did not receive. Page 153. तब्दीली के लिए इंसान के अजीम तरीन वसाइल में से एक हमारा ज़ख्म, तकालीफ और ना मिलने वाले बाप की मिलने की ख्वाहिश है। हम अपनी सदमों को इस किस्म के बाप बनने के ज़रिए ठीक कर सकते हैं जो हम चाहते थे मगर हमें नहीं मिला। खाली और बेमैनी और गायब से कुछ पैदा कर दो। वालिद होने का हमारा बेहतरीन नक्शा हमारे जहन की गोशों में एक फ़ोटोग्राफ नेगेटिविटी की तरह बन जाता है। चूँकि तुम्हारा बाप एक मुतासर कुन ख़ानदान नहीं मिला, इसलिए अपनी मायूसी, अपना गुस्सा, अपनी परेशानी और अपनी तन्हाई जहन में रखो तो तुम्हें बाप होने का साफ नक्शा मिलेगा। वो बाप बनो जिसकी तुम ख्वाहिश रखते थे और अपने बच्चों को वो कुछ देने से अपने ज़ख्मों को मंदमल करा सकते हैं जो कुछ हम खुद हासिल नहीं कर पाते। If you are not married, do not have children, find a friend's child who need nurturing and become a part-time substitute parent. To be involved in creating a wholesome future, men and women need an active caring relationship to children. A man who takes no care of and is not involved in process of caring for and initiating the young remain a boy no matter what his achievements. This generation of men knows by its longing for father who were absent that nothing fills the void that is created when men abandon their families, whether out of selfishness, dedication to work, or devotion to important cause. When anything becomes more important to society than the welfare of his children, it is sure sign of spiritual disintegration. अगर तुम शादीशुदा हो तो बच्चे पैदा ना करो, किसी दोस्त का बच्चा ले लो जिसको परवरिश की ज़रूरत हो और आर्जी तौर पर वालिद बन जाओ। एक सेहतमंद मुस्तकबिल की तख्लीक के लिए मर्द और ख़वातीन को चाहिए कि बच्चों के साथ मुशफ़क़ाना ताल्लुक़ कायम करें। एक शख्स जो ख्याल नहीं रखता और ना दूसरों के ख्याल रखने के अमल में शामिल हो जाता है और ना बच्चे पैदा करता है, वो अपनी कई कामयाबियों के बावजूद लड़का ही रहता है। पेज 154। इंसानों की ये नस्ल ऐसे वालिदैन की ख्वाहिश के ज़रिए ये जानते हैं जो कि कहते थे कि अफराद के ख़ानदानों को छोड़ने से जो खला पैदा हुई है इसको भरा नहीं जा सकता। ख़ुद गर्ज़ी की वजह से, काम से इंतहाई खुलूस और या अहम मकसद से खुलूस की वजह से, जब बच्चों की बहबूद के मुकाबले में कोई भी दूसरी चीज़ मुआशरे के लिए ज़्यादा अहम बन जाए तो ये यकीनन रूहानी इंतशार की अलामत है। Comprehension. Answer the following questions. Question number 1. What is the central idea of Keynes' essay and how is it related to the title? Answer. The central idea of the essay is the importance of family system as is clear from its very title. The author says that family is the first line of defense against all the ills of society. The whole essay supports the title. Question number 2. Analyze the 2 paragraphs of the essay and classify the sentences that support the main idea under the headings of definitions, examples, cause, effect, facts, and opinion. Answer. Each and every paragraph of this essay has the topic sentence and the supporting details. In the first paragraph, the topic sentence says that the family is the first target of tyrants and utopians. The rest of the sentences support and further explain the topic sentence. In the next paragraph, the author tries to prove that family is the natural school of love and it is the first line of defense. The author is of the opinion that men and women can come together to create a rich family system. Page 155. Question number 3. What, according to the Keynes, is the only revolution that will heal the ills of our society? Answer. According to the text of a lesson, the only revolution that will heal the ills of our society is one in which men and women come together and place the creation of rich family life back in the center of horizon of our values. Question 4. Is the thesis of the essay the importance of family implied or stated? Answer. The thesis of essay the importance of family is stated 1. The writer clearly states importance of family, the strong family relationships, the equal responsibilities of men and women. The writer develops, supports, and explains the thesis of his essay by arguments, examples, opinions, and evidences. Question 5. What is the point of fourth paragraph? What does its contents have to do with the thesis of the essay? In the fourth paragraph of the essay, the author is of the opinion that originally home economics meant art of managing a household. But later on, under the impact of Industrial Revolution, economics became the distribution and consumption of commodities. Thus, the dignity of home was degraded. This point is very much related to the thesis of the essay. Question 6. Keynes says, we heal ourselves by learning to give to our children what we did not receive. What does he mean? Do you agree? Explain. Answer. By saying we heal ourselves by learning to give to our children what we did not receive, the author means that if a person does not have a good parents and effective family system, he learns a lot from it. Page 156. And can heal himself by becoming a good father he wanted but did not have. We then give to our children all those things we longed for in our childhood but unfortunately did not receive. I totally agree with this statement of the writer. Vocabulary and grammar. Use authentic dictionary to find the meaning of the following words. Identify part of speech of the word through abbreviations used. Also find their pronunciation through pronunciation key. 1. Be mad about. किसी चीज़ का बहुत शौकीन होना. To be very fond of something. 2. Especially. Adjective खास तौर पर. 3. Trekking. Noun. लंबी और मुश्किल सफ़र. A long hard journey. 4. Award. Noun. कोई इनाम. 5. Ordinary. Adjective मामूली आम सा. 6. Jogging. Noun. आहिस्ता दौड़. Steady running. 7. Waste. Verb. ज़ाया करना. 8. Leisure. Noun. फुर्सत फारिग वक्त. Free time. 9. Save. Verb. बचत करना बचाना. To keep. 10. Indoor kid. Noun. Someone enjoys doing things indoor. 11. Remember. Verb. याद रखना. To keep in memory. Now fill in the blanks with words given in the box above. Change the form if needed. 1. If you don't like outdoor sports, you can do indoor sports and enjoy yourself. 2. The youngsters are mad about cricket idols and they like putting up their posters on the wall of their rooms. 3. My little brother is keen on saving his pocket money. When I ask him for it, he never lends me. 4. If you spend lots of hours in front of TV, that means you just waste your precious time. 5. When an actor receives an award, his fame becomes double. 6. You must not watch TV shows when you have got a lot of homework, especially when you have an exam the next day. You had better turn it off entirely. 7. My father and I go jogging every morning. That's why we feel healthy and fit. 9. I don't remember the meaning of it now. I need to look it up in the dictionary. 10th. Trekking is a long, difficult journey. 11. Leisure activities have the same meaning as the free time activities. 12. Maybe an ordinary person in the street does not know this, but you as an educated person must certainly know this. Page 158. A. Infinitives. Identify infinitive phrases. More than anything else, I wanted some time alone to read. Infinite phrase. 2. My grandmother told me that we have been put earth to share, to care, to give, and to receive. 3. While the train was stopped at the station, Bugsy attempted to climb to the top of one of the freight cars. 4. In the book Mama Day tells the citizens of the island to listen to the crows instead of the news bulletins. 5th, during the Great Depression, audiences wanted to laugh when they went to the movies. 6th, every Wednesday, 6 women from the nearby village came to the hostel to do the weekly wash. 7. One the last night of the retreat, we wanted to sing a song to end an evening that had been particularly touching to us all. 8. The Duke left the Duchess at a Red Roof Inn and proceeded to drive to the country to see his mother. 9. At the end of their long adventure, Anam and Nizam are told that they are too old to return to Kalang. Page 159. B. The following sentences have a verb plus object plus to plus infinitive structure. Complete each sentence by putting the words in parentheses into the correct form. 1. My boss told me to do the reports before Friday. 2. My colleague asked me to send a fax to the customer. 3. Ali wanted me to help him prepare his presentations. 4. I warned him not to drive too quickly because of the bad weather. 5. Please remind me to call Mr. Zan tomorrow. 6. Please tell him not to smoke here. First, not allowed. 7. Faiza did not feel too good, but we persuaded her to come to the party. 8. Nobody wanted to go to the conference, but our boss forced us to go. 9. I asked her not to call so late. 10. We should show them how to use a new equipment. C. Write the entire infinitives phrase and its function used in the sentence below. 1. The best plumber to call is Nizam. Adjective. 2. Each year Shakil tried to find more deductions for his tax return. Noun. 3. To patch the hole in the tire, the mechanic inserted a plug. Adjective. 4. She learned to read and write English in London. Noun. Page 160. 5th. Salim desire to do everything perfectly will eventually frustrate him. Adjective. 6. To pay that much money for a television is foolish. Noun. 7th. Yesterday Wahid exercised all day to lose some weight before the wedding. Adjective. 8. His only ambition was to succeed at his job. Noun. 9. To attempt an explanation for this phenomenon would do little good. Noun. 10. Nawab bought for his father a praying rug to show his respect. Adjective. Page 161, Unit 12, The Blanket. It was a fine September night. A thin white moon rose over the valley. Peter, 11 years old, did not see the moon. He did not feel the cool September breeze blow into the kitchen, for his thoughts were fixed on a red and black blanket on the kitchen table. ये सितंबर की खुशगवार रात थी. वादी पर एक बारीक सफ़ेद चांद निकल आया. 11 साला पीटर ने चांद की तरफ नहीं देखा. उसने बावर्ची खाने के अंदर चलने वाली सितंबर की ठंडी हवा को महसूस नहीं किया, क्योंकि उसकी सोचें बावर्ची खाने की मेज़ पर पड़े सुर्ख और स्याह कंबल पर जमी हुई थीं. The blanket was a gift from his dad to his granddad, a going away gift. They said that granddad was going away, that's why they call it going away. ये कंबल उसके बाप की तरफ से दादा जान के लिए रुखसती का तोहफा थी. वो कहते थे कि दादा जा रहे हैं, इसलिए तो उसे रुखसती कहते थे. Peter had not really believed his dad would send granddad away, but now there it was, the going away gift. Dad had bought it that very morning, and this was the last evening he and his granddad would have with each other. पीटर को कभी भी यकीन नहीं था कि उसके वालिद दादा जान को घर से भेज देंगे, लेकिन अब तो रुखसती का तोहफ़ा आया था. वालिद साहब इसी सुबह से ख़रीद कर लाए थे, और ये उसकी और दादा जान की एक दूसरे के साथ आखिरी शाम थी. Together the old man and the young boy washed the supper dishes. Page 162. Dad had gone out with the woman he was to marry. He would not be back for some time. When the dishes were finished, the old man and the boy went outside and sat under the moon. बूढ़े आदमी और छोटे बच्चे ने मिलकर खाने के बर्तन धोए. वालिद साहब उस खातून के साथ बाहर घूमने गए थे जिससे वो शादी करने वाले थे. वो कुछ वक्त तक वापस नहीं आएंगे. बर्तनों की सफाई का काम ख़त्म करने के बाद बूढ़ा आदमी और लड़का बाहर चले गए और चांद की रोशनी में बैठ गए. I'll get my harmonica and play for you, the old man said. I'll play some of the old tunes. But instead of harmonica, he brought out the blanket. It was a big double blanket. बूढ़े ने कहा, मैं अपना हारमोनियम लेकर तुम्हारे लिए बजाऊंगा. मैं चंद पुरानी धुनें गाऊंगा. लेकिन हारमोनियम के बजाय वो दोहरा कंबल लेकर आए. ये एक बड़ा मोटा कंबल था. Now, isn't that a fine blanket? Said the old man, smoothing it over his knees. And isn't your father a kind man to be giving the old man a blanket like this to go away with? It cost something. It did. Look at the wool in it. Warm it will be these cold winter nights to come. There will be no other blanket like it up there. अब क्या ये उम्दा कंबल नहीं है? बूढ़े ने इसे अपने घुटनों के ऊपर फैलाते हुए कहा. क्या तुम्हारा वालिद एक मेहरबान बेटा नहीं है कि बूढ़े को रुखसती के मौके पर ऐसा बेहतरीन कंबल दे रहा है? इस पर ज़रूर काफ़ी खर्चा आया होगा. इसके ऊन को देखो, और ये आने वाली सर्द रातों में गर्म भी होगा. वहाँ पर इस तरह का कोई दूसरा कंबल भी नहीं होगा. It was like granddad to be saying that. Page 163. He was trying to make it easier. Ever since they had talked about going away, Granddad had said it was his idea. Imagine leaving a warm house and friends to go to that building, that government place where he would be with so many other old fellows, having the best of everything. But Peter had not really believed Dad would do it until this night when he brought home the blanket. वो दादा ही की तरह बोल रहे थे। वो इस मौके को आसान बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे थे। जब से उन्होंने रुखसती के बारे में बातें शुरू की थी तो दादा ने कहा था कि ये उसका ख्याल है। तसव्वुर करो, एक गर्म घर और दोस्तों को छोड़कर उस सरकारी इमारत को मुंतकिल होना जहाँ पर वो ऐसे बहुत से बूढ़े अफराद के साथ रहेंगे जिन्हें हर सहूलत मैसर होगी। लेकिन पीटर को यकीन नहीं आ रहा था कि उसका बाप ऐसा करेगा इस रात तक जब उसके वालिद ये कंबल घर ले आए। Oh yes, it is a fine blanket, Peter said and got up and went into the house. He was not the kind to cry, and besides he was too old for that. He had just gone in to get Granddad harmonica. ओह हाँ, ये बेहतरीन कंबल है। पीटर ये कहकर घर की तरफ चले गए। वो ऐसा लड़का नहीं था कि चिल्ला कर रोए, और इसके अलावा वह ऐसा करने की उम्र कभी नहीं था। वो तो सिर्फ दादा जान के हारमोनियम लेने के लिए घर के अंदर गया था। The blanket dropped to the floor as the old man took the harmonica. It was the last night they would have together. Neither the old man nor the young boy had to say a word. Granddad played a few notes and then said, "You'll remember this one." जो ही बूढ़े ने हारमोनिका हाथों में लिया तो कंबल उसके हाथों से नीचे फर्श पर गिर गया। यह उनके लिए आखिरी रात थी जब वो इकट्ठा गुजारेंगे। बूढ़े और बच्चे दोनों के पास बोलने के लिए एक लफ्ज़ भी नहीं था। पेज 164। दादा जान ने कुछ धुनें बजाईं और फिर कहा, तुम इस धुन को याद रखोगे। The thin moon was high overhead and the gentle breeze blew down the valley. The last time Peter thought he would never hear Granddad play again. It was well that Dad was moving to a new house away from here. He did not want to sit here outside on fine evenings under a white moon with Granddad gone. The music ended and the two sat for a few minutes in silence. Then Granddad spoke. Here is something happier. पतला चांद सरों के ऊपर आ गया था और नीचे वादी में हल्की हवा चल रही थी। पीटर ने आखिरी बार सोचा कि वो कभी भी दादा जान को धुन बजाते हुए नहीं देख पाएगा। ये तो अच्छी बात थी कि दादा जान ने घर में मुंतकिल हो रहे थे, यहाँ से बहुत दूर। वो नहीं चाहता था कि दादा जान के चले जाने के बाद वो सफ़ेद चांद की रोशनी में बैठे। मौसीकी ख़त्म हो गई और दोनों चंद मिनट के लिए खामोश हो गए। फिर दादा जान कहने लगे, यहाँ ज़्यादा खुशी की बात भी है। Peter sat and looked out over the valley. Dad would marry that girl. Yes, that girl who had kissed him and who had said she would try to be a good mother to him and all that. पीटर बैठकर सामने वादी की तरफ देख रहा था। डैड उस लड़की से शादी करेंगे, वो लड़की जिसने उसका बोसा लिया था और उसने कहा था कि वो उसकी अच्छी माँ बनने की कोशिश करेगी। The tune stopped suddenly and Granddad said, "It's a poor tune, except to be dancing to. And then it's a fine girl your father is going to marry. He'll feel young again with a pretty wife like that. And what would an old fellow like me do around the house? Getting in the way, an old fool with all talk about back aches and pains." Page 165. धुन अचानक रुक गई और दादा जान ने कहा, ये घटिया धुन है सिवाय रक्स करने के। और फिर कहा कि वो एक अच्छी लड़की है जिससे तुम्हारे वाले शादी करने जा रहे हैं। वो इस खूबसूरत बीवी के साथ ख़ुद को जवान महसूस करेंगे और मुझ जैसा बूढ़ा आदमी उस घर में रहकर क्या करेगा। रास्ते में हायल होकर एक सादा सा आदमी जो सिर्फ कमर का दर्द और दूसरे दर्दों की शिकायतें करता रहेगा। And then there'll be babies coming and I do not want to be around listening to them cry all hours of the night. No, it is the best that I leave. Well, one more tune or two and then we will get to bed. Get some sleep. In the morning I shall get my new blanket and take my leave. Listen to this. It is a bit of a sad tune but a nice one for a night like this. और फिर उसके घर में बच्चे आएंगे और मैं नहीं चाहता कि सारी रात उनके रोने की आवाज़ें सुनूं। बेहतर यही है कि मैं चला जाऊं। अच्छा, मज़ीद एक आध धुन और फिर हम दोनों जाकर सो जाएंगे। सुबह मैं अपना नया कंबल लेकर रुखसत हो जाऊंगा। ये धुन सुनो, ये गमगीन धुन है मगर ऐसी रात के लिए बेहतरीन है। They did not hear the two people coming down the road, Dad and the pretty girl with the hard bright face like a doll. But they heard her laugh and the tune stopped suddenly. Dad did not say a word, but the girl walked up to the granddad and said prettily, "I'll not be seeing you in the morning, so I came over to say goodbye." सड़क से आते हुए उन्होंने दोनों अफराद के आने की आवाज़ें नहीं सुनी। डैड और खूबसूरत लड़की जिसका चेहरा गुड़िया की तरह चमक रहा था, लेकिन उन्होंने इससे हंसते हुए सुना और साथ अचानक रुक गई। पेज 166। डैड ने एक लफ्ज़ भी नहीं कहा, लेकिन वो लड़की दादा जान के पास आई और नहायत खूबसूरत आवाज़ से कहा, मैं शायद सुबह तुम्हें ना देख सकूं, इसलिए मैं आपको खुदा हाफिज़ कहने आई। It's kind of you, said Granddad, looking down at the floor and then seeing the blanket at his feet. He bent down to pick it up. And will you look at this? He said, sounding himself like a little boy. Isn't this a fine blanket my son has given me to go away with? ये तुम्हारी मेहरबानी है, दादा जान ने जवाब दिया, नीचे फर्श की तरफ देखते हुए, और फर्श पर पड़े कंबल को देखते ही वो उसे उठाने के लिए झुक गए और उसने कहा, क्या तुम इसे देखना चाहोगी? उसकी आवाज़ बच्चों जैसी थी। क्या ये उम्दा कंबल नहीं है जो मेरे बेटे ने रुखसती के मौके के लिए मुझे बतौर तोहफ़ा दिया है? Yes, she said. It's a fine blanket. She felt the wool again and said, a fine blanket indeed. She turned to Dad and said to him coldly, must have cost a pretty penny. Dad cleared his throat. I wanted him to have the best. The girl stood there and still looking at the blanket. It's a double one too. Yes, the old man said. It's a double one. A fine blanket for an old fellow to be going away with. उसने कहा, हाँ ये एक उम्दा कंबल है। उसने इसके ऊन को छूकर दोबारा देखा और कहा, यकीनन एक बेहतरीन कंबल है। वो डैड की तरफ मुड़ी और सर्द मोहरी के साथ कहने लगी, इस पर काफ़ी ख़र्चा आया होगा। डैड ने गला साफ़ किया, मैं चाहता था कि उसे बेहतरीन कंबल दे दूँ। लड़की वहाँ खड़ी रही और कंबल की तरफ देख रही थी। ये बड़ा और दोहरा कंबल है। पेज 167। बूढ़े आदमी ने कहा, हाँ ये दोहरा है और रुखसती के लिए एक बेहतरीन कंबल है। The boy suddenly walked into the house. He could hear the girl still talking about the expensive blanket. He heard his dad get angry in his slow way, and now she was leaving. As Peter came out, the girl turned and called back, No matter what you say, he does not need a double blanket. लड़का अचानक घर चला गया और अब भी लड़की को महंगे कंबल से मुतालिक बातें करते हुए सुन सकता था। उसने सुना कि वालिद साहब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता गुस्सा होते जा रहे हैं और अब वो जा रही थी। जो ही पीटर बाहर आया, लड़की वापस मुड़ी और आवाज़ देकर कहा, ख्वाह तुम कुछ भी कहो, लेकिन उसे दोहरे कंबल की ज़रूरत नहीं है। Dad looked at her with a funny look in his eyes. She's right, Dad, the boy said. Granddad doesn't need a blanket. Here, Dad. And he held out a pair of scissors. Cut it, Dad. Cut the blanket into two. Both of them looked at the boy surprised. Cut it into two, I tell you, Dad, and keep the other half. That's not a bad idea, said Granddad gently. I don't need such a big blanket. Yes, the boy said, a single blanket is enough for an old man when he's sent away. डैड ने उसे मुदहका खैस निगाहों से देखा। बच्चे ने कहा, डैड वो ठीक कहती है कि दादा जान को दोहरे कंबल की ज़रूरत नहीं है। डैड, उसने कैंची पकड़ते हुए कहा, डैड ये लो और कंबल को 2 हिस्सों में काट दो। दोनों ने बच्चे की तरफ हैरानगी से देखा। डैड, मैं कहता हूँ इसे 2 हिस्सों में काट दो और दूसरा हिस्सा महफूज रख लो। पेज 168। दादा जान ने कहा, ये तो बुरी बात नहीं है, मुझे इतने बड़े कंबल की ज़रूरत नहीं है। लड़के ने कहा, हाँ एक बूढ़े शख्स के लिए एक सिंगल कंबल काफ़ी है जब वो घर से रुखसत हो रहा हो। You will save the other half, Dad. It will come in useful later. Now what do you mean by that? Asked Dad. I mean, said the boy slowly, that I will give it to you, Dad, when you are old and I am sending you away. There was a big silence, and then Dad went over to Granddad and stood before him, not saying a word. But Granddad understood, for he put out his hand and laid it on Dad's shoulder. Peter was watching them, and he heard Granddad whisper softly, It's all right, son. I know you did not mean it. And then Peter cried, but it did not matter because all three were crying together. बाबा जान, हम दूसरे टुकड़ों को महफूज रखेंगे, ये बाद में काम आएंगे। बाबा ने पूछा, इससे तुम्हारा मतलब क्या है? लड़के ने आहिस्ता से कहा, मेरा मतलब ये है कि मैं बकिया टुकड़ा आपको दे दूंगा जब आप बूढ़े हो जाएंगे और आपको घर से रुखसत कर रहा हूँगा मैं। गहरी खामोशी छा गई और फिर वालिद साहब दादा के पास गए और उसके सामने खामोश खड़े हुए। लेकिन दादा समझ गए। उन्होंने अपना हाथ डैड के कंधे पर रखा। पीटर उनको देख रहा था और उसने दादा जान को सरगोशी करते हुए सुना, बेटा बिल्कुल ठीक है, मैं जानता था कि तुम्हारा मतलब ये नहीं था। और फिर वो रोने लगा, लेकिन इससे कुछ फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता था क्योंकि फिर वो तीनों इकट्ठे रो रहे। पेज 169 Comprehension. Answer the following questions. Question 1. How significant is the title, The Blanket? How does it interact with the story? Answer. The title of the story, The Blanket, is very significant to the story. Blanket is a thing which can be presented to a father on the eve of his going away at his old age. This term, the blanket, symbolizes the love of a grandson to his granddad. Question 2. Analyze the conflict in the story. How is it resolved? Answer. There are several conflicts within the story. There is conflict between grandfather and his daughter-in-law, the conflict between father and his fiancée, and there is also some conflict between father and Peter. Similarly, there is also conflict between Peter and his stepmom. Both internal and external conflicts are there. Daughter-in-law wants his husband to send away the father to nursing home, but in the end of the story, Peter is successful in giving his father a harsh lesson and stops him from sending granddad to old house. His guilt is exposed by Peter and he at last changes his mind and conflict is resolved. Question 3. Analyze the tone of the story. Is it joyous or sorrowful? Explain. Answer. The tone of the story is sorrowful and serious one. While reading the story, one feels sorry for the old granddad who is sent away to nursing house because his son and new daughter-in-law do not have time to take care of him. We feel sorrow when Peter says that this is the last night they would have together, but the story ends in a happy ending when dad changes his mind and all the three sons, father and grandfather stay together. Page 170. Question 4. What attitude does Peter show about his dad and granddad? Answer. The whole story is about family relationships. Peter, the grandson, loves his granddad too much. He tries to save his granddad from lonely life in old nursing home. Grandson is in great trouble when he sees the blanket and realizes the intention of his father. Granddad also experiences great pain because he does not want to leave his family home. But Peter has not good relations with his father as he is going to marry a new girl and send granddad away for the purpose. Story shows that internal and external conflicts affect their relations and the stress is maintained till the end. Question 4. How is the theme of the blanket the theme of disintegration of society as well? Answer. The theme of this story is family relations and strong bonds between family members. It also shows the social adjustment in old age. This theme is actually the theme of disintegration of our society. Modern society has been disintegrated. Our attitudes, materialistic approach and low moral standard has weakened social bonds among family members. Question 6. Describe your relation with different family members. Answer. I have cordial relations with all my family members. 171. But still there is some difference in having relationship with family members. I have most cordial relationship with my mother, sister and children, but I stay aloof from my father and grandfather because they're harsh and stern in their attitudes and behaviors. Question 5. If Peter had been exposed to mass media, would he have developed the same intimacy with his granddad? Answer. The present day social media, including mobile phones, internet, computers, etc., have considerably influenced the communication style of people and the relation with each other. We are near to each other physically but far away mentally. We have no time to meet and have good time with each other. Similarly, if Peter had been exposed to mass media, he would not have developed such cordial relationship with his granddad as he did in the story. Question 8. Why does Peter's dad get angry with the girl he's going to marry? Answer. Dad gets angry with the girl he's going to marry because she objects on the price and quality of the blanket. She says that the blanket is too expensive and furthermore, Granddad does not need such type of double blanket. When she continuously kept talking about this, her husband got angry. Question 9. What does our religion teach about old parents? Answer. Our religion Islam teaches us respect and too much care about old parents. Allah says in the Holy Quran that obey Allah, His Prophet and obey your parents and take great care of them in their old age. Page 72. Vocabulary and grammar. Find the meaning of past and past in the dictionary. Identify their parts of speech and then use them correctly to fill in the blanks. Answer. The museum is on the right, just past the church. My brother passed his exams with great result. We have just passed the exit for Leeds. We will have to turn around. Question 4. Go past the post office and then turn left and you will see your hotel. 5. He thinks he was a dog in his past life. Grammar. A. Complete the sentences with the gerund form of the verbs in the parentheses. 1. She is good at painting. 2. He is crazy about playing. 3. I don't like playing cards. 4. They are afraid of swimming in the sea. 5. You should give up smoking. 6. Samir dreams of becoming a doctor. 7. He is interested in making friends. 8. My uncle is afraid of going by plane. 9. We insist on cooking the dinner ourselves. B. Use in verbs in parentheses either as gerund or the infinitive. 1. I couldn't sleep so I tried to drink hot milk. 2. She tried to reach the book on the high shelf but she was too small. 3. Page 173. 3. We tried to get the party on time but he was delayed. 4. We tried to open the window but it was so hot outside it didn't help. 5. He tried to get a job in a newspaper firm but they wouldn't hire him. He tried getting a job in the newspaper firm but he still wasn't satisfied. 7. You should stop smoking. It's not good for your health. 8. We stopped studying because we were tired. 9. They will stop having lunch at 12. 10. We stopped to have a rest because we were really sleepy. 11. Oh no, I forgot to buy milk. 12. Please don't forget to pick up some juice on your way home. 13. I forget locking the door, but I am sure I must have locked it. 14. Have we studied this before? I have forgotten learning it. 15. Please remember to bring your homework. 16. I remember going to the beach as a child. 17. Finally, I remember to bring your book. Here it is. 18. Do you remember eating steak in that little restaurant in Lahore? 19. I regret to tell you the train has been delayed. 20. I regret telling my secret. Now she has told everyone. C. Replace the gerund by an infinitive and the infinitive by a gerund in the following sentences. 1. Laughing is better than frown. Page 174. 2. To write a story is not easy. 3. He likes collecting books and does not like to give them away. 4. To fly kites is a good sport, but betting is a bad. 5. He likes reading and writing. 6. She likes to cook and paint. 7. To see is to believe. 8. She loves to make dolls. 9. Waiting for people who were late made him angry. 10. Selling insurance is a pretty boring job. D. Decide whether the following sentences contain a gerund or a progressive. 1. He likes reading books. Gerund. 2. He is reading books. Progressive. 3. Reading books can be great fun. Gerund. 4. He is interested in reading books. Gerund. 5. He was reading books. Progressive. 6. He has been reading books for 2 hours. Progressive. 7. Instead of reading books, Henry went to bed. Gerund. 8. Do you like reading books? Gerund. 9. He had been reading books. Progressive. 10. His hobby is reading books. Gerund. Page 175, Unit 13. Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunken a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. मैं एक दूर दराज वतन के एक मुसाफिर से मिला जिसने कहा सहरा में एक मुजस्मे की 2 टांग खड़े थे और उसके जिस्म का ऊपर वाला हिस्सा गायब था। उसके नज़दीक रेत में इसका चेहरा टूटा हुआ हिस्सा पड़ा था। उसके माथे और झुर्दार होंठों से ज़ाहिर होता था कि इसके चेहरे पर खफगी और परेशानी की मुस्कुराहट थी। चेहरे के असरात बताते थे कि इसके बनाने वाले ने बादशाह के चेहरे पर ये सब कुछ अच्छी तरह पढ़ लिया था और इनको इस मुजस्मे पर सब्त कर दिया था। And on the pedestal these words appear, My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains round the decay of the colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sands stretch far away. वो हाथ जिसने उनकी नकल उतारी और वो दिल जिसने ये तासुरात चेहरे पर लाए और उस मुजस्मे के नीचे पर अल्फाज लिखे हुए थे। मेरा नाम ओज़िमंडियस है, बादशाहों का बादशाह, मेरे कारनामों को देखो, ताकतवर और मायूस। अब कुछ भी बाकी नहीं रहा है सिवाय इस टूटे मुजस्मे के। इस टूटे मुजस्मे के बिखरे हुए टुकड़ों इस वसी सहरा में पड़े हुए जो कि दूर दूर तक फैला हुआ था। Comprehension. Answer the following questions. Question 1. What is the theme of the poem Ozymandias? Answer. The major theme of this poem is the impermanence of power. The poem reminds powerful people that their power, fame, wealth, and achievement are temporary. If some people think their power is immortal, they are only deceiving themselves. By describing the broken statue, the poet takes this issue as general reality. Question 2. Describe in your own words the anatomical conditions of the statue, the king of Ozymandias, as portrayed by Shelley. Answer. The poet describes the body structure of the statue. It has got massive stone legs without trunk. The face is in very bad condition. The lips are wrinkled and the broken and shattered face lay buried in the sand. The statue's present condition is a mockery on his claim of being the most powerful ruler of the world. Question 3. What is the tone of poem Ozymandias? Answer. The poem Ozymandias has a tone of ironic solemnity. A serious subject matter has been given ironic touch. Page 177. Through the description of a statue of a king who was once the king of power and grandeur. But the only thing that survives today is a broken statue scattered on an empty desert. Question 4. Give some examples of alliteration from the poem. Give some examples and show what purpose do they serve. Answer. In this poem there are several lines having alliteration like cold commands, boundless and brave, sand stretched. The purpose of this is to produce sonic effects and a pleasant comforting touch to the poem. It also gives clear picture of the scene and statue to the readers. Question 5. Write rhyme scheme of the poem. The poem Ozymandias follows rhyme scheme of A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, C, D, C, D. Question 6. Describe imagery of the poem Ozymandias. What sort of picture does it evoke? How much the imagery contributes to the tone of the poem? Answer. The poet has used imagery in the poem to make readers feel things through their senses. The poet has mostly used imagery of sight. Through best world images, the readers are able to see the world picture of the statue standing in the desert on two broken legs, missing trunk, frowning and wrinkled lips. The imagery contributes a lot to the tone of the poem. On the one hand, the power, grandeur and the terror of powerful king is shown, but on the other hand, the current picture, page 177, the current picture of the statue tells completely opposite story. Question 7. The inscribed lines on the pedestal of the statue have ironic overtone. Explain the implied meaning of these words. Answer. In the inscribed lines there is pride and grandeur, but the current condition of the statue tells a completely opposite story. The inscription on the pedestal of the statue is mockery made by king himself. It is an irony. Today there is no such great work seen around, but only the scattered remains of a statue. Vocabulary and grammar. Fill in the blanks with one of the following words. 1. It's the biggest shop in the city. They sell everything. 2. Everybody is hungry because it's a dinner time. 3. Do you have everything you need for your holiday? 4. The party was great. Everybody enjoyed it. 5. My mother knows everything about football. He loves it. 6. The center of Prague is beautiful, but there are tourists everywhere. 7. Islamabad, a brilliant city, but everything is quite expensive. 8. Their garden is full of flowers. There are roses and tulips everywhere. 9. I like my new job. The work is interesting and everybody is very friendly. Page 179. 10. I have not got a car. I travel everywhere by public transport. Grammar. A. Fill in the blanks in brackets in future progressive. 1. Ayan will be coming to the party on Saturday. 2. We shall be meeting him tomorrow. 3. This time next week he'll be flying to Saudi Arabia. 4. At 6 o'clock on Friday they'll be singing the new song. 5. It will be raining probably when I reach Murray. 6. Tomorrow at 9 I shall be writing a test. 7. Sania will be watching a video when I arrive tonight. 8. You will be eating pizza soon. 9. She will be sleeping when you telephone her. 10. They will be arriving in Medina just about now. B. Put the verbs in parentheses into the correct form of future progressive. A. At midnight we will be sleeping. 2. This time next week we will be sitting at the beach. 3. At 9 I shall be watching the news. 4. Tonight we shall be cramming up for our English test. 6. They will be dancing all night. 6. He will not be playing all afternoon. Page 180. 7. I shall not be working all day. 8. Will you be eating at 6? 9. Will she be driving to London? 10. Will they be fighting again? C. Fill in the blanks using the verbs in future tense. 1. Zainab will come to the party on Sunday. 2. We will meet him tomorrow. 3. This time next week he will be flying to Dubai. 4. At 6 o'clock on Sunday they will be singing a new song. 5. It will be raining when I reach Naran. 6. Tomorrow at 9 I will be writing a test. 7. Sanya will be watching a video when I arrive tonight. 8. You will be eating pizza soon. 9. She will be sleeping when you telephone her. 10. They will be arriving in Makkah just about now. D. Fill in the correct future tense. Will future going to or present simple? 1. The fridge is empty. Go and get some food, please. 2. We have decided that we would have dinner at a restaurant tomorrow. 3. The weather report said that it would be sunny tomorrow. 4. Rubina said that she would not cook for him anymore. 5. Shakil, will you hike with us next Saturday? 6. We have to hurry. The train is going to leave in 5 minutes. Page 181. 7. They are hungry. I am going to get some milk and cornflakes for breakfast. 8. We will probably donate some money to his charity organization. 9. I studied a lot for the exams. I will not fail. 10. They announced that the shopping mall will open on June 1st. 11. It's a beautiful day today. I think I'll go to the beach today. 12. He will teach us in English next year. 13. I feel very tired. I am going to sleep. 14. I am not sure if he would have enough money to buy a new car next year. 15. The World Championships will end next Sunday. E. Put the verbs into the correct form. Will, going, to, simple present or present progressive. 1. I love Naran. I will probably go there next year. 2. Our train will leave at 4:47. 3. What will you wear at the party tonight? 4. I have not made up my mind yet, but I think I'll find something nice in my mom's wardrobe. 5. This is my last day there. I am going back to Buner tomorrow. 6. Hurry up, the conference is going to begin in 20 minutes. 7. Look at these big black clouds, it is going to rain. 8. Here is the weather forecast, tomorrow will be dry and sunny. 9. What does a boy saw when he sees a banana skin laying just a few meters in front of him? Oh dear, I am going to slip. Page 182, Unit 14, A Long Walk Home. I grew up in the south of Spain in a little community called Estepona. I was 16 when one morning my father told me I could drive him into a remote village called Mijas, about 18 miles away, on the condition that I take the car in to be serviced at a nearby garage. Having just learned to drive and hardly ever having the opportunity to use the car, I readily accepted. I drove Dad into Mijas and promised to pick him at 4 p.m. Then drove to a nearby garage and dropped off the car. Because I had a few hours to spare, I decided to catch a couple of movies at a theater near the garage. However, I became so immersed in the films that I completely lost track of time. When the last movie had finished, I looked down at my watch. It was 6 o'clock. I was 2 hours late. मेरी परवरिश स्पेन के जुनूब में एक छोटे से कस्बे एस्टोपोना में हुई। मेरी उम्र 16 साल थी जब एक सुबह वालिद ने मुझसे कहा कि मैं उससे दूर दराज वाक़ गाँव मजास ले जाऊँ, जो कि 18 मील दूर वाक़ था, इस शर्त पर कि मैं एक करीबी वर्कशॉप में कार की सर्विस करा लूँगा। अभी गाड़ी की ड्राइविंग सीखने और मुश्किल ही कार को इस्तेमाल करने का मौका मिला था, तो मैं फ़ौरन राज़ी हुआ। मैं बाप को गाड़ी में बिठाकर मिजाज ले गया और 4 बजे गाड़ी वापस लाने और उसी गाड़ी में वापस ले जाने का वादा किया। फिर मैं कार को लेकर करीबी गैराज में गया और कार वहाँ खड़ी कर दी। चूँकि मेरे पास चंद घंटे वक्त था, इसलिए मैंने गैराज के करीब वाक़ थिएटर में 1-2 फिल्में देखने का फ़ैसला किया। Page 183, मैं फिल्में देखने में इतना मगन हुआ कि वक्त गुजरने का पता भी न चला, और आखिरी फिल्म के बाद मैंने जब घड़ी पर नज़र डाली तो 6 बज रहे थे और मैं 2 घंटे लेट था। I knew Dad would be angry if he found out I had been watching movies. He would never let me drive again. I decided to tell him that the car needed some repairs and that they had taken longer than had been expected. I drove up to the place where he had planned to meet and saw Dad waiting patiently on the corner. I apologized for being late and told him that I had come as quickly as I could, but the car had needed some major repairs. I shall never forget the look he gave me. मैं जानता था कि अगर वालिद साहब को पता चला कि मैं फ़िल्में देख रहा था तो वो गुस्सा होंगे, वो मुझे कभी भी गाड़ी नहीं चलाने देंगे। मैंने फ़ैसला किया कि उन्हें बताऊं कि कार को कुछ मरम्मत की ज़रूरत थी और इस मरम्मत ने ज़्यादा वक्त लिया। मैं कार उस जगह पर ले गया जहां हमने मिलने का वादा किया था और मैंने डैड को एक कोने में इत्मीनान के साथ इंतज़ार करते हुए पाया। मैंने ताख़ीर पर माफ़ी मांगी और उसे बताया कि मैं जल्दी वापस आ जाता मगर कार को कुछ मरम्मत की ज़रूरत थी। उसने जिस अंदाज से मेरी तरफ देखा मैं इसे कभी नहीं भूलूंगा। I am disappointed that you feel you have to lie to me, Jason. What do you mean? I am telling the truth. जेसन, मुझे मायूसी हो रही है कि तुम मुझसे झूठ बोल रहे हो। मैंने कहा, आपका क्या मतलब? मैं तो सच बोल रहा हूँ। Dad looked at me again. When you did not show up, I called the garage to ask if there were any problems, and they told me that you had not picked up the car. So you see, I know there were no problems with the car. A rush of guilt ran through me as I feebly confessed to my trip to the movies theater. Page 184. And the real reason for my tardiness. Dad listened intently as sadness passed through him. Dad ने एक बार फिर मेरी तरफ देखा और कहा, जब तुम बर वक्त वापस ना आए तो मैंने सर्विस स्टेशन कॉल की कि क्या कोई मसला था, और उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि तुम अभी भी गाड़ी लेने नहीं आए थे। तुम्हें पता है कि मुझे इल्म है कि गाड़ी में कोई ख़राबी नहीं थी। मेरे जिस्म के अंदर कसूरवार होने की एक लहर दौड़ गई जब मैंने धीमे लहजे में थिएटर जाने और अपनी सुस्ती की असल वजह तस्लीम कर ली। डैड परेशानी के आलम में मुझे गौर से सुनते रहे। I am angry not with you but with myself. You see, I realize that I have failed as a father if after all these years you feel that you have to lie to me. I have failed because I have brought up a son who cannot even tell the truth to his own father. I am going to walk home now and contemplate where I have gone wrong all these years. मुझे तुम पर नहीं बल्कि अपने आप पर गुस्सा है। तुम जानते हो कि मुझे एहसास होता है कि इतनी उम्र गुजर जाने के बाद भी तुम मुझसे झूठ बोलने की ज़रूरत महसूस करते हो। तो एक बाप की हैसियत से मैं नाकाम हो चुका हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने एक ऐसे बेटे की परवरिश की है जो अपने बाप को भी सच नहीं बता सकता। अब मैं पैदल घर जा रहा हूँ, ये बात सोचने के लिए कि मुझसे अपनी ज़िंदगी में कहाँ पर गलती हुई। But Dad, it's 18 miles to home. It's dark. You cannot walk home. My protests, my apologies, and the rest of my utterances were useless. I had let my father down, and I was about to learn one of the most painful lessons of my life. Dad began walking along the dusty roads. I quickly jumped in the car and followed behind, hoping he would relent. I pleaded all the way, telling him how sorry I was, but he simply ignored me. Page 185. Continuing on silently, thoughtfully and painfully, for 18 miles I drove behind him, averaging about 5 miles per hour. मैंने कहा, लेकिन डैड, घर तक तो 18 मील का फ़ासला है, तुम पैदल घर नहीं जा सकते। मेरे एहतजाज, मेरी माफ़ियाँ और मेरे बाकी इल्तिजाएँ कारगर साबित न हुई। मैंने वालिद को मायूस कर दिया था और अपनी ज़िंदगी का दर्दनाक तरीन सबक हासिल करने वाला था। डैड ने घर से भरे सड़क पर पैदल चलना शुरू कर दिया। मैं जल्दी से गाड़ी में सवार हुआ और उस उम्मीद पर पीछे पीछे गाड़ी चलाता रहा कि शायद वो नर्म पड़ जाएं। मैं सारा रास्ता उनकी मिन्नत समाजित करता रहा, उन्हें बताता रहा कि मुझे कितना अफसोस है, लेकिन वो मुझे मुसलसल नज़रअंदाज करते रहे और मुसलसल खामोशी, फ़िक्रमंदी और तकलीफ़दा तरीके से सफ़र जारी रखा। 18 मील तक मैं गाड़ी चलाकर उनके पीछे पीछे चलता रहा, तकरीबन 5 मील फ़ी घंटा की रफ्तार से। Seeing my father in so much physical and emotional pain was the most distressing and painful experience that I have ever faced. However, it was also the most successful lesson. I have never lied to him since. अपने वालिद को इतनी जिस्मानी और ज़हनी अजियत में देखने मेरे लिए बहुत तकलीफ़देह और अजियतनाक तजुर्बा था, जिसका मुझे कभी सामना करना पड़ता था। ताहम ये बहुत कामयाब सबक था। उस वक्त से लेकर आज तक फिर मैंने कभी उनसे झूठ नहीं बोला है। Comprehension.
Answer the following questions. Question 1. Write central idea of A Long Walk Home. Answer. This short story, A Long Walk Home, is a story about parents-children relationship. It tells us that we should never tell lies to our parent. It hurts them a lot. Parent sacrifices their time, money, health, page 186, and even desires to rear their children in the best possible way. So the children must also show their love, honesty, and sincerity to them. In this story, the father is annoyed by his own son, but he is not angry with him but on his own self. He teaches him a lesson in a very strange way. He says that the fault lies not in his son but in the upbringing of the father. Question 2. Analyze the pattern of organizing paragraphs in the text and tell what pattern has been used. Answer. This short story, A Long Walk Home, is a narrative based on personal experiences. The writer has started the story in an interesting way, and the suspense is maintained throughout the story. He follows chronological order and time sequence. He uses keyword sentences and phrases to make the story clearly understandable. He proceeds further step by step. He also uses the technique of dialogue to make the message clear and to develop the story. Question 3. What was the most distressing and painful experience for Jason? Answer. Seeing his father in so much physical and emotional pain was the most distressing and painful experience for Jason. Question 4. What point of view has been chosen by the writer? Does it suit the writer's purpose? Demonstrated with reference to the text of the poem. Answer. The writer has selected a story based on child-father relations. He has chosen this short narrative, to tell us that we should not tell lies to our parents in any circumstances. His mode of narration is very apt, clear, and suits his purpose. He uses short and simple sentences to make it understandable. The writer narrates his own story. Page 187. The writer narrates his own story using first-person pronoun to show his own feelings, emotions, and situations which he himself experienced. Question 5. Why did Jason's father refuse to sit in the car and decide to cover 18-kilometer long distance on foot? Was his decision justified? Explain. Answer. Jason's father refused to sit in the car because he could not bear that his own son lied to him. He thought that the fault lies in his own personality, not in his son. He could not teach his son to speak always the truth. That is why he decided to cover the 18-kilometer long distance on foot and punish himself. He is totally justified in his decision. Question 6. Why was Jason's father so angry with himself rather than his son? Answer. Jason's father was angry with himself. He tried to make his son realize his grievous mistakes, that he kept his father waiting for a long time. Jason's father felt the guilt of bringing up a son who could not tell the truth to his father. Question 7. How do you feel about this personal narrative? Answer. This personal narrative is very effective. Through this short story, the writer has beautifully shared with us his personal thoughts and experiences and has given us a beautiful message of the impacts of lying to our parents. Question 8. Analyze Jason's relationship with his father. Was Jason a good son? Jason had a good relationship with his father. The father wanted to be accompanied by Jason to Mijaz, but through the rest of events, we came to know, page 188, that Jason feared the anger of his father as he could not tell the truth of his being late at first. He was aware of the extreme reaction of his father. Jason was very dear to him, and by punishing himself, Jason's father actually wanted to make his son realize his severe mistake and teach him a lesson for the rest of life. Jason seems to be a good son, as he readily accepted his fault, apologized, and his father's walking home was much painful for him. Question 9. Evaluate the character and personality of Jason's father. Compare and contrast it with your dad's personality. Answer. From his role played in the story, it is evident that Jason's father is a serious, sober, dignified, and most truthful person. He is a firm and stern-minded person. Once he decides to walk home on foot, he does not change his decision. In spite of the regrets, apologies, and protests of Jason, he is much disturbed by Jason's telling lie to him, and he wants to correct him by a strange way. This response to his son's fault was most effective, as with some other response, Jason could have not learned such an important lesson of his life. Same the case with my dad. He is also a serious and strict-minded person, but he is always angry on us, not with himself. Vocabulary and grammar. A. Fill in the blanks either with up or down. 1. I did not hear what you said. Speak up a little. 2. I don't trust him at all. Make sure everything is put down in writing before signing. Page 189. 3. When you go to London for meeting, please remember to bring up the whole issue of pay cuts. 4. The speed limit is only 50 miles per hour. Along this road, slow down a bit. 5. Don't get so excited or you won't perform at your best. Calm down. 6. I can't believe you did not back me up in my argument with Mr. Dowd. 7. The bridge was not destroyed in the storm. The army blew it up before leaving the city. 8. Go up to that policeman and ask him where we can find the museum. 9. If we do not get this contact, we may have to settle down and move to another town. 10. If you break up these figures into gender, you can see how women have been affected more by this policy. 11. They are knocking the old hospital down because they say it is in danger. 12. 3 of the oldest trees were blown up in the heavy winds last night. 13. There is a lot of government help these days for anyone who wants to set up their own business. B. Consult some authentic sources to find the meaning of the idiom related to weather and fill in the blanks with correct idiom. 1. I only touched his new car and he went crazy. He is overprotective of it and made a real storm in a teacup. Page 190. 2. He has been under a cloud ever since he was caught cheating in the exam. 3. If you are feeling a bit hot under the collar, go and have a walk around the block. 14. Are you feeling a bit under the weather? You have been looking a bit tired and ill. 5. First the bank sent us that rude letter about our loan, then the house got broken into then this morning John lost his job. It never rains but it pours. 6. I can never tell what mood she is going to be in. She always blows hot and cold. 7. When I lost my job 3 years ago, I felt so depressed, but it is true that every cloud has a silver lining. I started my own business and have been happier ever since. 8. We have hardly any money. You will have to accept any job they offer you because we need money desperately. We have to accept any port in a storm. 9. Your uncle was so happy about this new model car that he had finished, but his wife turned around and really ran on his parade. 10. It was only 5 miles to the next hostel, but we made heavy weather of it due to the weight of the packs and took nearly 3 houses to get there. 11. I never knew about the chance of a new job at all. I only get wind of it from Cathy, who had overheard the managers talking at lunch in the staff canteen. 12. Saima always had in the clouds a real dreamer who, page 199, who finds it difficult to accept the mundane in life. She is a typical teenager. Grammar. A. Identify adjectives in the following sentences and state their kind. 1. Karachi is a big city. Word, adjective, big. Kind, quality. She ate some rice. Some, adjective, kind, quantity. 3. Foolish crow opened his mouth to sing. Foolish, adjective, kind, quality. 4. He has little patience. Adjective, little, kind, quantity. He has lost all of his wealth. Adjective, all, kind, quantity. We did not receive sufficient rain this year. Adjective, sufficient, kind, quantity. Each hand has 5 fingers. 5. Adjective, kind, number. 8. There are several mistakes in your composition. Adjective, several. Kind, numeral adjective. 9. January is the first month of the year. Adjective, first. Kind, number. Ordinal. 10th. Our country expects every citizen to do their duty. Every, adjective, kind, distributive. Page 192. Neither accusation is true. Adjective, neither. Quality, distributive. 12. Those apples are ripe. Adjective, those. Kind, demonstrative. B. Determine which form of the adjective best completes each of the following sentences. 1. Her highest score was 200. 2. It goes without saying that Nasser's hand was larger than mine. 3. Maheen was better than Abrar at solving riddles. 4. This test tube of water is definitely clearer than the other.
5. Tomorrow's weather should be cooler than today's. 6. Compared to Nadia's cats, mine is hardly the slimmest.